So the best way to start is in reverse of how we took it apart, and start with these metal bars. You really want to make sure they're set in all the way, because these are going to be, well, every part that's going across, if something isn't in quite all the way, it's going to force everything out too far, and it's not going to work right. There you go. You can feel they're setting all the way. Now when I use these slats, I'm going to put them back in. And this is kind of the boring, tedious part. If you put it in all the way and just get it started on the other end, don't push it in all the way, that'll give you enough room to keep going the whole way and get everything back the way it needs to be. Now I've gotten up to the 2 missing ones. That's my clue to use these third bars on there. They're a little skinnier, so it's easy to tell which ones they are. Put it back in there. Okay, at this point nothing's really holding it together. We're going to put on these 2 little end pieces here. So those are the ones that have the feet on it. Feet are going to go down. So here we're looking for the really small screws, maybe 7/8 or 1 inch long. And don't lose your Torx screwdriver. Now the screws that you drilled yourself here, they're gonna have a lot more resistance because you're forming the threads on them. There's 2 that were existing. It'll be a lot easier. You don't need to be Superman, you don't need to crank these super tight, just so the screw heads are flush with the plastic housing here. Double check, make sure all your slats are in, and they're going to be a lot easier to put in now, although not impossible later. Alright, now we can set this on end. You still want to be careful with it, even though we're tied in at the ends. Things can still fall apart on you as you lift it. So now we can take this dowel and put that back in place. The dowel's actually going to overhang about a ½ inch on each end. They'll pop right back in like arms. And now we can do our side pieces. way I like to do this is put both the screws all the way in. You can see those points, put them in the slots where they need to be, because they're a little hard to see otherwise. You want to make sure you get them in the slot, in the channel, otherwise they're not gripping onto anything. Again, snug. You don't have to keep cranking on it or you'll strip it out. You do strip one out, it's okay. It'll still be alright. So on the bottom side, I've got a little bit of a gap here. All I'm going to do is pull forward a little bit, and that's going to bring it right where it needs to be. If it doesn't, something's not aligned quite right. And repeat again. And we're putting the chamfer side out, so the head of the screw is flush with the edge of the wood. Okay, last two screws here, then we get to put those edges back on. Same thing, I'll rotate it forward, slips right into place. Now I'm going to take these other two boards that we have, I'm going to set them near where we're going to need to go, and on the ends. First rail, you're going to want to line it up to the holes. This is where the pen light comes in handy. You can see through the wood exactly where that needs to go. So grab a few screws and you can see where it needs to go. This metal tab here, make sure that's covering these screw holes, or darn close to it in this case. Alright, set those four in place. Before we get to the end, you want to make sure this wooden dowel is going to fit into this slot. And if it doesn't, that means you just put it on backwards, like I did. That actually means I've taken the wrong rail and put it on. Because now, that tab's going to cover that perfectly like it should. And the dowel's going to pop in there. Okay, two end pieces now. Here you're going to have to support this entire thing as you're screwing it in. Get these lined up in there. Starting by hand a little bit, it'll kind of hold, and then it'll pull itself up. Had a little difficulty on that one. Might not have drilled deep enough. There are two different length screws, so I think I grabbed the wrong ones for that. Now we're going to flip it over and do the other side. Same as the last. Set this on here. And use our pen light to find the holes. And we're done. We've transformed a 38-inch IKEA motorized bed frame to a 30-inch. Pair that up with another 30-inch and you've got the queen size bed. They're not quite long enough. I'll talk about how to lengthen your frame next time. But right now we're sitting at about an hour per bed frame that we've done. So 2 hours for the set, and you've got motorized.